Okay.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Chris Schultz with FridayNightVictors.com. I am joined by Gary Hoff and Frank Vasner. Gentlemen, welcome. How's everybody doing?
Go ahead, Frank.
Well, staying busy between work and football. Covered a good game Friday night. We'll get into that, I'm sure, a little bit later. Gary, how about yourself?
I'm fabulous. Soaking in the warm weather while I can.
I unfortunately have to work, and I can't really soak it in too much.
No, me neither, but I try.
Yeah, and I'm doing great. I've been sprung.
Nice.
I'm able to get out and about, and I was negative the entire time, but I had been compromised, so I had to stay indoors. Real quick, before we get started, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors. We have a brand new sponsor, Country Time Tent Rental LLC, Amy Straczynski. Give her a call for tents, tables, chairs, cornhole boards, and stuff like that. So, especially if you got graduation parties coming up in the summer, give them a call.
Yeah, they book quickly, so get your call in.
Yeah, get your call in right away. Their advertisement is up on the blog, FridayNightVictors.com. Cakes by Stephanie, Southeast Michigan's premier wedding cake designer, right there on Monroe Street in Monroe. Also, we got RK&D Lawn and Landscape LLZ. Give Jeff a call. Tell him that we sent you for your lawn and landscape needs. And we got Joe Bellino, state representative. And then we got Monroe Sports, Varsity Athletic, Randy Wyndham over there. So, gentlemen, that is our sponsors. Why don't we dive right into our games from last week? And I'm just going to go right down the board. We had River Rouge 38, Riverview 20. I was at that game. Gentlemen, you guys got any thoughts on that score? Because I got a few thoughts that I shared on the website. Gary?
I thought Riverview put up a good showing. They did themselves in the Huron League proud. They were winning that game at one point, I think 14-6 or something like that. And they kept pace for a decent amount of time, man. But the better team won, and you have to play a very, very, very clean game to beat a team as talented as River Rouge. So the Pirates gave it their best effort, and they did themselves proud.
Right.
I'm just going to come out and say it that River Rouge is the equivalent of Alabama in Division III. It's a team where if you're going to beat them, you pretty much have to play perfect, mistake-free, and hold your own. And unfortunately, it was just Riverview just ran into a buzzsaw, and Rouge showed why they're the best in D3, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think, Riverview did play very well. It was 14-8 with about 7 minutes to go. And, Rouge goes down the field and scores, helped out by a pass interference call on a third down, which helped things out. They get in the end zone. Riverview's hoping to put a drive together, so they're down 16-14. Rouge gets a 3-and-out, throws a bomb, scores. And then Riverview gets the ball with about a minute or so to go and throws an interception. River Rouge throws a bomb and scores, and it's 30-14, basically game over. And it was just like what happened. I'll tell you this, it's an event when Rouge comes to town because they had 4 buses, 60 kids, about 20 coaches, 3 or 4 camera people roaming the sidelines, pom-pom, cheerleaders, a band, and a huge crowd. It was pretty it was impressive, and they were impressive, equally impressive on the field. Preborowski, or whatever his name is, the quarterback who's going to Western Michigan, he's the real deal. About 6'3", probably 220, maybe 6'4", big kid, ran the ball a lot. So hats off to Riverview, though. They played well. And we took a lot of time on that. We're going to have to cruise. Huron 30, Allen Park 14. Frank, did that score surprise you?
Actually, it kind of did. I figured that game was going to go right down to the bitter end because Allen Park's always a tough team to play against, but Huron ended up taking it to them, and another good showing by Isaac Smith, who made a statement early with taking a kickoff back to the hizzy for 90 yards.
That means the house for
it's a touchdown.
For you neophytes, right?
Needs a touchdown, Chris.
Oh, is that what? Okay.
Yeah.
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 Gary?
So I was surprised. What a performance by Huron. Normally, Allen Park is a very rugged team, and if you beat them, especially if you're a Huron League team, if you beat them, you can eke out a 1 or 2 pointer in a low scoring affair. So, did they put up 30? Is that what it
It was
was?
30-14.
Yeah.
30. So that's a good amount of points. Huron played very well.
Yeah, and I talked to Chad Smith, the head coach, and his son Isaac on Saturday, and he said it was a lot closer game than the score. He said it was one of those to where, if maybe the ball bounces a different way here or there, they're on the other end of that thing. He was very impressed with Allen Park. Isaac put it on the carpet, which he normally doesn't do, but he was a factor, obviously. Austin Myers was dressed, but they chose not to play him for whatever reason. So good win for the Chiefs. Let's keep moving down the board. Milan 34, the Airport Jets 8. Gary, the score doesn't surprise me. You give Jesse Hoskins 2 weeks to prepare for most anyone, and it's lights out.
I picked Airport to win, but Airport just can't get over that hump. They've struggled against teams with winning records over the last few years, and obviously Milan is usually one of those. And sooner or later, Airport's going to get one. But Milan is they certainly win the games they're supposed to win. Always, almost always.
Yeah, that's fair. Frank?
It's kind of like whenever playoffs hit, first couple rounds, there's just a switch that always turns for Milan. And where you think they're going to end up having a close game or they could possibly lose, and then all of a sudden it's boom, they win by 20 or more points. And, of course, Jesse Hoskins and company did just that. They took care of business, although Airport had like 3 cracks down at the end zone in the first half, and they couldn't punch it in. And I think that's something that's really going to have them thinking for at least till next season, like what could have been if we would have got in there.
Okay, yeah, I can't add anything to that. I expected Milan to win, and they took care of business. Clinton 42, Erie Mason 24. Gary, I think you'll say that I had been saying Clinton, and then I saw what Mason did to E-Course, and I was like, well, I'm going to go with Erie Mason, and I was wrong. Your thoughts on that game? I know you thought Erie Mason was capable of winning it all, and maybe they really were, because Clinton might win it all.
Yeah, we did a preseason rankings. I had Clinton number 2, and they had some injury things, and they took a little step back. But I think they're back in full strength. Vol played a little bit. Lehman played a little bit. I think they're going to continue to play a little bit more, certainly Lehman, but maybe even Vol as he gets healthy. Yeah, Clinton, they might be the best team in Division 6. But Mason, hats off to Mason. They had a tremendous football season after so many years of, basically futility. They had a tremendous season, and, that's nothing to shake a stick at.
Frank?
A lot of what I've been hearing is how Erie Mason is a bunch of phonies. They are who we thought they were. Rest in peace, Denny Green. And to people saying that, stop. This team had their first winning season since 2004, won their first conference championship since 2003, won their first playoff game since 2003. They don't deserve to get blasted for losing to who I think is a very good Clinton team in their own right. I mean, look. They got Jack Roll back, and it was actually Braden Randolph, not Braden Lehman, who was out. So, a little correction there. So, I mean, it stinks seeing Erie Mason lose, because I've got a lot of respect for what Rob Boudry has done there, and I know that those kids are putting a ton of work. But you know what? They've pretty much added another layer to the foundation, and now the bar is going to be raised for the Eagles for the years to come. And we'll see what comes of it next year for them.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think Erie Mason had an outstanding season, and quite frankly, these boo birds on the blog, I think it might be one boo bird. It's just one negative Nancy, and whatever. Just I think Erie Mason had a great season, and they should be proud of themselves. I know I'm happy for him.
I know the road Mason had in the playoffs, starting with Clinton, the road that they would have had to get into a regional championship or, wherever they're playing the state title game, it would have been, it's just incredibly hard. Now Clinton takes that spot. Clinton's going to have to earn it. They got every game from here on out is crazy.
Yeah, I would agree with that statement. Let's go one more. Let's go SMCC 41, Grass Lake 35. Frank, thoughts on your adopted team?
My adopted,
Gritty,
gritty, resilient Falcons. Well, gentlemen, you saw why I refer to them as that. They get down by 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. They don't panic. They're just like, hold my drink and watch this. They come back, tie the game, and Blake Birkenhire scores with no time left to win it. I think that's the type of game that they needed to say, you know what, this is playoffs time. You're going to run into adversity. How well are you going to respond to it? And they did just that, and it's going to get a lot tougher with Jackson Lumen Christie coming to town this Friday.
Gary?
Yeah, I mean, Frank pretty much nailed it. They really did not panic at all. Grass Lake scored on 2 crazy plays. They had a strip fumble for a touchdown, ran it all the way back as Birkenhire was running the ball. They just held him up, took it from him, and they ran 50 yards for a touchdown. And the other one was a pass from Kemmerling that hit off a helmet and went 20 yards in the air and landed in Grass Lake's hands, and they ran it back for a touchdown. So that's how they got down 2 scores. Didn't panic. It doesn't do any good to panic when you're a full house T team because you only run what you run, right? And they did that, took the time, got the requisite scores, got a turnover in the process, which is a big help, obviously. And they did what they had to do. Great comeback victory.
How was Jeff's call on the winning touchdown?
He peaked to the levels. I think I don't think anybody really heard it, to be honest. But
Okay.
but how just another day in the office, I think Frank said it for Cole Jandro. Another 200-yard performance.
Pete. I mean, he's putting up legendary numbers at a place that has produced running back after running back after running back.
Yeah, just a sophomore.
I'm starting to think that Alex Morgan's single-season record of rushing yards may not stand for very long. Probably won't fall this year, but I'd say next year if Jandro stays healthy and Falcons go another deep playoff run, that record may be going out the window.
He didn't play in week 1. He had a bum ankle.
Exactly.
He didn't play. He was sore for the first 2 or 3 games. So, yeah, kudos to him.
Okay, and, that'll lead us right into – right now we've got our Friday Night Victors Player of the Week poll going on over on Twitter at FN Victors. And Cole Jandro is up again. I think that's 3 out of the 4 last weeks. He's been nominated. He's up there along with Nate Brown, the quarterback from Grosse Ile, who ran him through for a bunch. Kendrick McBride, running back from Milan, is on there. And then Devin Shaw, running back from Whiteford as well. I got the poll up a little bit late. I apologize. Normally it's over by this time, but just had stuff going on. So we still got another 13 hours before that thing's over. So get out there and vote. If you want to read about their bios, go to FridayNightVictors.com and you can see what the nominees did. So with that, guys, we are going to jump into the games. We've got about 15 minutes left. First game right away, 6-1, River Rouge at 7-1, Huron. Frank, your thoughts?
Did we talk about Grosse Ile?
I didn't talk about every team. We just don't. We don't.
We didn't.
We're going to talk about them in a minute, and we're going to talk about the other winners too. So
right.
Yeah, there was those. But anyways, I'm sticking by my pick of River Rouge to win it all in Division III. I mean, granted, I would love to see Huron pull this off, but again, I think River Rouge is basically the equivalent of Alabama in Division III. I'm taking the Panthers.
Gary?
I want to see Huron win, but I'd be obviously be a homer if I picked Huron. So I'm going to go with the team I actually think is going to win. But we're all going to be rooting for Huron actually, and they're in the game, so they have a chance. Okay,
so there's a rarity because Gary very rarely picks against the Chiefs. It's just over the years.
I pick them to win the league every year.
I'm just teasing. Yeah, I'm going to go with River Rouge as well. I think I've heard the term Huron's playing with house money right now. You know, they've had some subpar seasons the last few years. So the fact that they've got a couple of wins, and it'll be interesting to see the matchup because Rouge has a couple of good defensive backs, a really good DB and a really good safety. It'll be interested to see how they defend Isaac Smith. You know, do they bring a safety over and help, or do they get a little arrogant and go one-on-one with him? Because I wouldn't go one-on-one with him. Maybe, you know, of course, I've won 0 games.
I think they're
going to
go. They're going to go too high, and they'll probably bracket him.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. So I'll go with River Rouge. Okay, let's move to Saturday afternoon, 2:00, 7-1 Milan at 7-1 Redford Union. Frank.
I've looked a little bit at Redford Union, but of course they're in the Western Wayne Athletic Conference, which if anyone knows me knows that I'm not really the biggest fan of that conference. I think it's more of a basketball league. So not going to matter what day it is, I am going to go with the Big Reds to take this one.
Milan, yeah. I mean, they got the dream trip. They're like the secretariat on the inside rail, and everybody's behind them. You got the dream trip. I'm not gonna say an easy route, but you still got to win the games. And you got to play who's in front of you, and they're gonna beat Redford Union, no doubt about it.
Okay, I agree. I think Milan's gonna win this game, and I think they'll win big. Okay, let's see. 5-3 Grozeal travels to 7-1 Summit. Gary.
Good game. This might be a game. You said you might go to this game, Chris. I might have as well. I think it's gonna be a great football game.
It's only 5 minutes from my house or 10 minutes from the house, so
that factors in too, right?
Yeah, it does.
I'm going to go with Grozeal. I think they're dynamic offensively, and although Summit, you know, how good is Summit? You know, I don't know if we know. We do know that they're good. How good are they? You know, if they can beat Grozeal, I think they can call themselves pretty darn good. But I'm going with the Red Devils.
Frank?
I mean, Summit has got some talent with Charles Coy, their quarterback, Terry Curtis, the receiver, Dylan Purry, tight end. I've actually seen those guys play before, and of course, the last time I saw Summit in a playoff game, they absolutely got the brakes beat off them by Milan. I'm not sure if it was just the moment that got to them or just the fact that Milan had Tristan Hines, but Grozeal has too much Nate Brown, too much Joe Pizzo, too much Tyler Swick, and too much Keegan Mott. I am going to go with the Red Devils in this one.
Okay. Gosh, I thought you guys would go with Summit. Yeah, I'm going to go with Grozeal too. And I think it's going to be too much John Bonder. This could be a high-scoring game, I think. And, you know, I talked to a couple people at Flat Rock about their game over there, and that score, when I had mentioned that score was like 42-6 at halftime. You know, Flat Rock felt they had a chance to win, and then they gave up like a punt return for a touchdown, an interception for a touchdown. I think there was a kickoff for a touchdown. You know, even the guy selling popcorn scored a touchdown on special teams or something. So it was just one of those games where it just fell apart on him. But I think it'll be high scoring, and it could be something crazy like, you know, I don't know, high 40s, which I think will be very entertaining. So I think that's probably where I'm going to go. So I'll go with Grozeal as well. All right, let's go over to 3-5 Summerfield. We'll be traveling to 6-2 Whiteford. Frank, your thoughts?
Well, raise your hand if you thought Summerfield was going to get this far in the playoffs after winning only one game. Didn't think so. I mean, give Alex Lipka and his guys all the credit in the world. I thought they beat a Southeastern team that was way more talented than them. You know, this is one that is going to be very interesting. It's a rivalry game, and what do we say about rivalry games? What do we throw out the window?
Records.
Yeah, and I say throw the records out the window in this one. But here's where it all comes down to when we get down to brass tacks. It's experience in these types of games. Whiteford has experience. Summerfield, not as much. I think it's going to go down to the end, but I think Whiteford's just going to make a couple more big plays, and they're going to squeak out a close one. So give me the Bobcats.
Erie?
I'm going to go with the Bobcats as well. I think obviously the big win against Southeastern for Summerfield, great win for the program, great playoff win for Coach Lipka. But Messner's been there and done that, and they're doing a lot of shotgun now. Already's tossing the ball around. I don't think they fully scrapped the double wing, but they are dynamic, and I think they're just too much for Summerfield. I'm going with Whiteford.
So Whiteford's doing what they have to do to win, right?
Yep.
Changing
Sure.
it up, right?
Yep.
They're not. I wonder what people were thinking when the tractors started rolling down Mack Avenue headed towards Southeastern last week when they played that game. You think people's
Lord.
heads were turning? I mean, that game, that score really surprised me. 29-20, Summerfield.
Yeah.
I was very happy for them, and that was a big win because Southeastern had a good football team. Gary, you had seen them. So with that said, Whiteford just keeps getting better and better. They're super young. They're obviously well coached. They're playing at home. I'm going to go with the Bobcats as well. Real quick, we've got our game of the week, the Cakes by Stephanie game of the week coming up, but I'm going to save that till last. Couple of big games, 8-0 Mason at 8-0 DeWitt. If you're calling River Rouge, Alabama, I'm calling DeWitt, Clemson, and I'm calling Mason, Ohio State. Gary, your thoughts?
Go with DeWitt. I want to see name a team in the state of Michigan that you would say that would 100% beat DeWitt. I don't know if there is one. I don't even in Division I. I don't know. Give me DeWitt.
Frank?
Oh, I mean, I've kind of been on the Mason Bulldogs bus because of you guys this season, because we've covered them a little bit. But I think DeWitt wins this one. Just a gut feeling.
Yeah, I think DeWitt wins it as well, and I don't think anybody wants to play them.
Mason's great. Mason's having a fantastic season.
Yeah, and I don't know if DeWitt even wants to play Mason,
No.
right? I mean, what a great matchup.
It is.
So, okay, and then the other one is in 8-man Division I. We have 5-2 Marcellus at 7-1 Martin. I believe these two teams were supposed to play during the year, but I think Marcellus had to cancel, and Martin ended up picking a different game or picking somebody up. I know Martin is really undefeated. They lost a forfeit game where they had a COVID scare. Frank, what's your thoughts on this, if any?
I'm going to go with Martin in this one. And I think that they're probably one of the top contenders in Division I for 8-man. I don't know if they're ever going to run into Lenawee Christian, though. I think if that happened, if that happens, get your popcorn ready for that one if you love yourself some 8-man football. So let's make a Martin versus Lenawee Christian matchup happen at some point. So give me the Clippers.
Well, and that, it's funny you mentioned Lenawee Christian because why aren't they playing 11-man football? I mean, they dress 30 kids. They dress 30 kids.
The reason is because they don't have anyone around them conference-wise.
I don't know. Seems convenient to me. Go ahead, Gary. Sorry, people.
Yeah, no, give me Martin. Coach Brad Blavelt. I want to say it's pronounced Blavelt. Man, he's done a tremendous job with Martin. And great defense. They shut out New Buffalo. I think it was their first shutout of the season. And J.R. Hildebrand had a big defensive effort, 11.5 tackles. And they got it rolling in Martin. Look out.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Martin as well. And I think they will run into Lenawee Christian pretty soon. And and the reason I bring up Lenawee like that is they could have won Division 8 in 11.
Yeah, they could have. Sure.
I mean, they're absolutely that capable. And if it's just a scheduling thing, maybe that's what it was. I don't know. We'll just leave it at that. So let's go down to our game that Gary, you'll be on the color call, and this is the game of the week, the Cakes by Stephanie game of the week, because Jackson Lumen Christi is arguably the best program in the history of the state. I mean, they really have a great program. They've been to Ford Field 4 straight times. They lost last year in the finals, I believe it was, and then they won the 3 straight before then. So 4-4 Jackson Lumen Christi at 6-2 SMCC. Frank, why don't you go first?
Well, count me, like I said earlier this week on the blog, count me as one of the people who thought Jackson Lumen Christi was left for dead. But reports of Herb Brogan's ball club's demise have been greatly exaggerated, as evidenced by their last 2 playoff wins, especially after they thrashed Riverview Gabriel Richard by 21. Never saw that coming. And Lumen Christi, I know they're not as loaded, but here's a name for you guys to watch. Basil Hampton. He's a running back. And
He might not. He might be. He might be out. He might be out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
Oh,
some injuries.
Scoop.
Yeah.
You got the scoop?
They have some injuries, and that's why they're 4-4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you make a pick, Frank?
I was just about to do that. I know Lumen Christi's 4-4, but I've got a ton of respect for Herb Brogan as a coach. I mean, his bunch is always going to be well coached, and that's another team you have to have everything together if you're going to be playing them. And the last time SMCC played the Titans, they beat them by 1 point, and the rest of that was history. So this one, since it's at the friendly confines of Navarre Field, I'm going to continue going with my adopted, gutty, gritty, resilient Falcons. Probably winning another close game.
Both of you stole all my thunder. I did all kinds of research on this, but no, Chris, you're exactly right. I mean, I think if anybody were to call Jackson Lumen Christi the greatest program in the state since 1968, which has been their inception, I think you'd be hard to refute that. 11 state championships, been there 13 times, won it 11 times. That's a pretty darn good percentage. Herb Brogan Coach Brogan sent me a email today. I asked him for some stats and whatnot, a quote, and he said the few times we've played SMCC or St. Mary or wherever he referred to us as, they've been hard-hitting, close games, that sort of thing. And I'm thinking, well, I know we played him in 82. I know we played him in 83. I know we played him in 2014. He was the coach for all those games. He started there in 1980, so he's been there 40 years. Quite a what's the word I'm looking for?
Legacy?
Legacy, successful, whatever. I mean, he's done it all there, and hats off to him. Hats off to that program. 4-4. Don't let that confuse you. They play a very tough league, like SMCC does, Division 7, but they play up all year long. I'm going to go with Jackson Lumen Christi in this game. I just think they're going to be a little bit tougher, and I think they pull out a close win. The Falcons scared me last week. I thought that was the game that they got lucky in a little bit, and I don't think they're going to get lucky this game. I think the Titans win.
I would have been willing to bet the house that you were taking Jackson Lumen Christi.
You know me.
Yeah, I do. So I'll say this. SMCC has a nice team. I thought they'd be down this year, and they've really grown. The guys have coached them up. They've had kids playing like stars. They found a quarterback. Their running back's a beast. Their 2 losses are to Riverview and Huron. And those are pretty impressive losses because Huron's still going, and Riverview gave, Rouge, I thought, a game last week. I'm going to go with SMCC here. I think it's going to come down to the home field advantage, whatever that means. I'm sure there'll be a raucous crowd there at Navarre. I'm sure our buddy Mike Lush will be in the crowd just going crazy, as well as the rest of the alumni out there. So I am going to go with SMCC, and Well, that's my pick. So
I also know both of you guys because I told somebody this morning that's very, very, very close to the program. It's very as close as you can be without being a player. Let's put it that way. I think you can figure out who that is. I said Chris and Frank are going to take SMCC. So
well, we know Frank is because it's his adopted,
I'm going to have to go the other way.
gritty, you know. So,
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
surprised nobody has made that line into a T-shirt yet.
oh, it's maybe.
Yeah, so somebody go make a T-shirt. Go to Randy Wyndham with that shameless plug for Monroe Sports Varsity Athletic.
Well, you are so far behind where I'm at on that, Frank. So don't be surprised. So, hey, we get there were 8 forfeit games last week. It's starting to concern me, and we've already seen one, right? Pewamo, Westphalia forfeiting to Ithaca this week, I
And
believe.
Portland ended up forfeiting their game.
And these are heavyweights. Zealand,
yeah.
I mean, a lot of heavyweights.
It's getting interesting, and I'm just hoping we can get this thing done. So, anyways, guys, we'll leave it at that. I appreciate you joining me. Frank, where are you going on this weekend? What game are you going to?
I'm thinking about going to see the rematch between Clinton and Blissfield. I wanted to go to the first meeting, but unfortunately, Stripes duty called, so I may just go see the rematch.
Okay, and then obviously, Gary, you're going to be down at Navarre.
Yep.
And I think I'm going to Summit, but my plans always change. I could go out to eat instead. I don't know. We'll see. So, all right, that's it for us.
Yeah, plus I told some of my friends from Blissfield that I'd meet up with them afterwards. So,
a few cocktails.
Frank's a man of his word.
Yes, he is. All right. Well, thanks for joining me again, guys. Everyone, Chris Schultz for Gary and Frank, FridayNightVictors.com. Have a good night.